Alright guys, so we are at Wakullah Springs State Park. We're fixing to go on the boat ride tour. What river?
It's Wakullah Springs.
Okay, Wakullah Springs.
It hooks up to the St. John's, and Wakullah Springs is where the first Tarzan was filmed, and also one of the airplane movies when they have the jet crash.
And of course, the wind
And the
starts
first
blowing.
mastodon
Well, the first mastodon found.
that was found and recreated at the museum. And there's still mastodon remains in the springs.
Yeah, so let's run inside.
Alligator to the right in the weeds, very, very hidden. You can see how easily they can sneak up on people just by staying still. This is a really big alligator drag to our right, and that's because a really big alligator lives here. He's, what do you say, about 8 feet long, 9 feet long? Yeah, probably about 9 feet long. He's really big around too. The bigger around a male alligator is, the higher chance he's fed recently, so the more attractive he is to a female alligator.
Like a girl. Female's another name for male.
Yeah, that's what I'm on the railroad tracks.
Got a really cool bird here. Currently, it's at our 11 o'clock. Another alligator here to the right. That great blue heron in front of us is probably gonna take off shortly. This is the biggest bird we've got on the water right now, or ever pretty much. Great blue heron. That is one of the birds that eats the baby alligators, keeps alligator populations in check, otherwise we'd be overrun. So thank you, great blue heron. Very well hidden right now. He's leaning up against that tree to our left. Pretty well camouflaged, that gray color. There, his wingspan. Look at that. Wow. Absolutely incredible wingspan.
Oh, yeah. Purple. Really big.
Not a cool bird. Oh, I wish. Now, the reason why we're waiting here just a moment is because to our right, we have a really special tree. Look at that biggest tree you can spot, a little bit further back from the shore. That is another bald cypress tree. It's over 600 years old. Really wide around. The top of it was knocked off by a hurricane a few years ago, so it's not as tall as it could be. They grow as old as about 1,000 years old and maybe another 10-15 feet taller. Again, bald cypress wood is very hardy. In fact, it's so hardy that the seats you're sitting on are made out of bald cypress wood. The way we counted how old that tree was we inserted essentially a straw. I don't know if you've ever done this, but put your thumb at the end of the straw and pulled up a milkshake. Essentially what you do to a tree, you take out that core sample of the tree and then you can count the rings. That's a nice way of dating a tree without actually cutting it down. If you're interested in that kind of science, it's called dendrochronology, which is a fancy word for saying counting the rings in a tree. Heart-shaped leaves, upside down heart-shaped leaves, that's pickerel weed in the springtime, purple flowers. And among all of that pickerel weed, we've got one more alligator here to the right. I don't know if you'll ever get tired of me saying that, will you? This morning, and we saw 20 yesterday. It all does depend on the time of day you're out here, if it's cold or not. If you're in the area and there's another cold spell, I recommend coming back here. The colder it is outside, the higher chance there is of seeing a manatee down here. highest number of manatees I ever saw here was 36, and it was about 39 degrees outside that morning. So this morning it was what, 60 degrees by the time we got to work, and we only saw 5 manatees. Now the reason that is because manatees need warm waters. That's why they do come up into the springs and rivers in the winter time to try to stay as warm as possible, because the Gulf has gotten too cold at that point.
Yeah.
Manatees can live in fresh and salt water. Another alligator to the left. In fact, if you ever do see a manatee out in the wild, if you'll notice, if it's mostly gray with white circles, that means barnacles and it's been out at the ocean. If it's mostly greenish brown, that means algae, so it's been in freshwater. Now, speaking of water, here to the right, we've got another water source. This is the Sally Ward Spring Run. 3/4 of a mile upriver, there's another secondary spring within our park. That's why we can call ourselves Wakullah Springs, because there's more than one. In fact, I think there's about 80 within our park, so. We did earn the plural.
Yeah.
Sally Ward Spring pumps out only 2% of the water from the entire Wakullah River. The other 98% comes from in front of us. Remember, 400,000 gallons of water every single day. Another alligator on the right. And a baby alligator just next to it. So that's a mama and her young.
That's the swimming platform over there.
So I want you to think back on all those alligators we've seen so far. Quite a few of them, didn't we? And now I want you to look to the left, past that great-billed heron, and you'll notice that we're just coming up on our swimming area. Well, this is the time of the boat tour that I always get the question, what's keeping the gators out of the swimming area? Let me tell you, there is a big, huge net that goes around the whole swimming area, and if that gives you comfort, I want you to keep on imagining it's there. Nothing necessarily keeping the gators out, except for a couple things. So, alligators generally want to stay away from us. We're very loud, we're very annoying, we chase away all their food, we chase them away. We take up all of their good sunbathing spots with our own towels and beach chairs. If I was an alligator, I'd much rather be 2 minutes downriver where it's perfectly quiet, no one's around to yell at me. Only once in an hour will people come by and ooh and ah. Sounds pretty ideal, doesn't it? All the food they could want downriver. Now, every so often, a small alligator, just testing his boundaries, will try to come into the swimming area, and that's what we do. We'll come by with a really long stick, just encourage it to move downriver. We're just coming out over the spring basin. This entire tour, we've been in about 5-7 feet of water. That is completely changed right now because we're in 80 feet of water at this moment. Another alligator to the right. 80 feet of water below us. This is where they filmed the one last movie, directly underneath us, Airport 77, where an airplane goes down into the Bermuda Triangle, which is saltwater. But if you watch the movie, look through the windows of the plane because you'll see our freshwater fish swim by. Now here to the right, 120 feet down, that's where all the water is coming from. Also here to the right is a very strange creature, the Homo sapien. Hello. Homo sapiens will jump off 12-foot drops into 69 degrees of water Fahrenheit all year round. They also enjoy staying up at the lodge, a great place to stay. 27 rooms, no TVs except for one big one to show the football game every now and then.
So is the extension on that thing there, that's where giant
Yes, so originally this cement structure was made out of wood and it was 4 stories tall.
There's a manatee.
Oh, manatee to the left. There we go. Thank you. Look at that. Manatee to the left.
I want to see the gray.
That's the only thing we were missing from this tour, so thank you very much. So if you can't see it, put on your polarized sunglasses. That'll help cut the glare of the water just a little bit. Right now it looks like a 10-foot long floaty potato in the water. If you look on the surface of the water, you'll see the stepping stones. Looks like little waves in the water. That's where the manatee has just gone. So it is swimming away from us. I don't want to startle it or give it any cause or concern. So we're just going to slowly try to move backwards. Looks like it might be coming up for air just shortly. There it comes. Get your cameras ready. Back here to our left. Just floating there. Here it comes, here it comes.
Yeah, you see it, right? Your sister got wet sitting in front of one of the seats.
Splashed its tail.
Flattened his tail.
Isn't it cute? Breathes every 3 to 5 minutes. When it's taking a nap, it'll stay underwater for about 20 minutes at a time. It does control its buoyancy in the water by letting out air out of its back end.
Out of the back end.
There you go. Thank you. Now you're with me.
They fight for buoyancy. Yes, they do.
They do. Don't be upwind of a manatee, okay?
No.
They eat 10% of their body weight every single day in grass. That's a whole lot of fiber.
They're daunting.
Yeah.
Ooh, osprey. There he comes.
Go up a little bit for air. Back down.
No, I see.
So manatees don't have blowholes, they have nostrils. In fact, their nose very closely resembles a trunk. That's a huge hint for you. What's its closest relative?
Elephant.
Elephant, that's right. So that's why we call it the Wakullah here on the Wakullah River. Also known as the sea cow because it eats so much grass every single day. It's not related to cows at all. In fact, only its naming structure follows cows. So calves for the babies, bulls for the boys. As you look over the side of the boat, I want you to tell me what color is the water? Green. Right. Yeah, it's green. The water here underneath us is green. Now, flash back in time about 20 years ago, the water used to be crystal clear here. Now, if you remember from the beginning of the tour, I told you that all the water coming out of the hole in the ground was coming from underneath.
That heron is magnificent. She
Wanted you to think about that because all of the fertilizers that we put on our lawns to make them grow green makes the algae grow green. Algae, like most other plants, has the green pigment called chlorophyll. That's what makes plants green. So when the plant dies, it releases that chlorophyll into the water, making it green. So that's why the water is green here, and that is unfortunately why we can't offer those glass bottom boat tours anymore. We wish we could. We have it ready, we have it cleaned off, we have it waiting for you. As soon as there is kind of a cultural change up in Tallahassee and we start picking up after our dogs, we start picking up our trash, we reduce the amount of fertilizers, we reduce the amount of pollutants, we'll be able to get to that point. Now I don't want to leave
woman crying.
Oh yeah.
And you really do.
Alright guys, so that is the guided boat tour. It's actually pretty cool. We got to see all kind of really good stuff. So that was on our list of seeing Florida before heading to Wyoming. Again, we'll be hitting Arizona first, then Wyoming. But yeah, wanted to go check that out. So now this part of Florida, I like. All right, now where we currently live, close to the cities, no. But all that back there, other than the man-made structures, I like that. So we did get to see some gators.
Lots of babies.
Lots of babies.
We've had a couple false springs already, so yeah, everybody's confused.
All right, guys, we will catch you guys later, and fixing to head home tomorrow.